ever wondered why everyone else seems to have life figured out and you're just winging it? You're in the right place, friend. Welcome to the We're All Winging It podcast, where we normalize the weird stuff, simplify the messy bits, and support you through life's most challenging adventures. Hey, Anna-Marie. I'm so excited that we are finally sitting down to do this. And I thought maybe we could start by talking about what led us here. How did we get here?
I think that's awesome. Hey, Steph.
So we'll just let the cat out of the bag. I actually used to be one of your clients and had profound progress forward after walking with you for, I don't know, like a year and a half. And it really dawned on me that this was a really different approach to therapy that worked. And I got really excited about my healing journey. What do you remember about that time?
I just remember you being shocked that I was so accepting and that we just were able to talk about things, hard things. And I just remember thinking the relief on your face that you were not alone. And I think that's important. I think that is the big part in therapy, that sometimes the normalization is a big piece. And so that's one of the pieces I remember when I met you.
I agree. And I think that was one of the pivotal moments for me. I've actually done therapy with a number of practitioners over the years. You were the first practitioner that ever dropped that facade and just kind of leaned in and said, yeah, me too. That's actually pretty normal. For the first time in my life, I felt like somebody that I would say has her, stuff in order, looked at me and was like, no, girl, me too. And that was a really pivotal moment.
Oh, wow. I love that.
I feel really bad that people's experiences can be so very different. And it's also frustrating because when I tell you, and a lot of people probably don't know this, when I tell you the amount of hours that you have to practice under supervision is redunculously long and extended in order to be considered good practitioners, it's crazy. So when you are in school, this is my experience with my licensure. I think this is just important to share here. I spent over 1,000 hours over, it took me close to a year because I was also a mom and, just putting those hours in like a full-time schedule.
Sure.
1,000 hours while I was also doing classwork. And that was unpaid.
Wow.
Yeah, my husband totally gets a Saint Award for that.
Oh.
And then after you graduate and you pass the tests, you get your associate's license, which is kind of like you work under supervision. And so you work under supervision for 3,000 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there's a lot of checking in with supervisors to make sure that people are clinically savvy. They are working within their limits. They're not working beyond their scope of training, those type things. But I think sometimes what happens here is with what you're talking about is people get stuck making sure they're rule following. I'm not trying to be a non-rule follower here, but it is really important to, for lack of a better word, read the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because sometimes we do need to be able to shift and interact and ask questions or allow the tear to roll down our cheek and acknowledge what has happened. And I think the most common remark that I have gotten is very similar to what you said, where people are like, oh God, you're normal, which is relative here. Let's just be clear. So, it is, they're like, I'm paying attention to where they are and we're talking.
Yeah.
It's not a bunch of just me typing and soaking up information and then responding little nuggets here and there. I try to be very, I think it's one of the things in therapy is to really be present. So does that answer the question a little bit? Because I think that's what made a difference for you.
Yes, there was a give and take that I had not experienced before. I like to think of my past experiences as, yes, the very stoic, ever-wise therapists, and they were good therapists. I'm not poo-pooing.
Oh, absolutely. I know they were.
Process, and they did help, but that was my previous experience with, 3 different practitioners, and that wall was very often impenetrable. And it's, I think, for me, now maybe not for others, maybe others like that kind of distance.
That's right. I think that's real important. I want to say that is some people really need that clinical setting. It makes them feel more comfortable.
Right. And for me, I needed somebody to feel like they were walking alongside me. Like I knew that it was a patient practitioner relationship. Like that was never unclear. But I do like a more like meet me where I'm at. I think your willingness to engage in that back and forth helped me not feel so vulnerable and out in the wind, you know?
Awesome. Well, I mean, I think that's really good to hear. So this is going to feel like, affirmation day for me to have this conversation because I do love what I do. And sometimes, you do get emotionally tired as anyone does in their job, but you get emotionally tired and think, wow, I'm kind of pooped today. But walking with people is a joy because you are sharing good stuff and bad stuff, right? It's not, it's a mixed bag.
So I consider it honor that you really felt like I let the wall down.
There was a lot of rapport and trust that was built with that specific kind of practice. Then we found out we needed to relocate back to Wisconsin, and I was really bummed. Um, and it just made me reflect a lot about my journey walking with you. And it made me want to be able to share this with other people because it really did have such a profound effect on my mental health and my therapeutic journey.
And then you decided to do this.
I was so scared when I told you.
Oh gosh. Let me tell you, that was a funny day because you're like, I would like to talk to you outside of session. And I'm like, okay, that's not a big deal. Well, I mean, like, that's fine. And we knew that you were finding another therapist and all of that stuff. But it was really funny because you were like, yeah, I want to Zoom. Because I think we Zoom. Did we Zoom
We
that?
did Zoom.
Okay.
We did
Yeah.
Zoom. I was
Yeah.
scared. I needed you to see my face. I needed to be able to read the room.
It's so funny. And so then you're like, you just kind of tossed it out there. You're like, I have a crazy idea. And I'm like, okay. And it was so funny because when you said it, I was like, whoa, ooh, talking to people like outside of like a one-on-one or small family in my office. Whoa, people. My adult sons were the ones, particularly my youngest, that really pushed, Mom, you can do this. Quit worrying about that there's going to be people, which I think is funny. You got your 22-year-old son saying, Mom, stop.
Just do it, Mom. Just
Let's
try.
do it. Yeah. So I appreciated that because, I do have a good relationship with the boys and we talk about tons of stuff. So I think it's cool that they also were okay because that was the other thing. The reason I went to them is I want to make sure that they felt comfortable with their mama's voice being out there.
Agreed. Agreed. There is a thoughtfulness that has to go when you have a family into these kind of decisions. So I think that was really wise.
So I don't know that did we make the decision that day? I think I kind of was like, let me sit on it.
No, I think we said, let you sit on it. We both like kind of fleshed out what we would want from the experience since we both have careers, like how it would have to meld with our current careers that we are passionate about. And we did really take our time. We, made sure that professionally, like that made sense. Like we were severing in a healthy way for me and you.
Right.
Yeah, there was a lot of thought and effort that went into it. But I think at the end of the day for me, and I think maybe you too, the notion that one, right, we could break some stigmas about therapy.
Oh, yeah.
And two, just help people understand that we are all in the weeds at one time or another. And we're just, it's normal. And so if you have somebody to talk about and to talk through these things, I think there is a normalization that happens that makes it easier to carry our burdens and to work and walk through them.
I love that. I think there's a lot of truth to that.
But I think that's what most of us do need, right? Is it comes to kind of how we came up with the title for this podcast, right? Of we're all winging it. And we're trying to figure things out as we go.
Yes, for sure. This felt like something special, and it was something that I just wanted other people to get to experience about you and to know that there are other therapists out there that are like this.
This is just like a conversation like we would have had in a session. Obviously, we're going to protect privacy and we'll talk about other situations, right? But I think it feels kind of interesting to do something so outside my box. So I appreciate the invitation to try this on.
Yes, for sure. I really enjoy our conversations, and I hope this will be an opportunity to just have them in a different kind of capacity. Well, Anna-Marie, as we wrap up this episode, we want all of our listeners to know this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only, and it's not meant to be a substitute for professional mental health advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you're struggling, please reach out to a licensed therapist or counselor. We've provided a link to Psychology Today in the show notes, which is a highly respected resource to locate licensed therapists in your area. All right, Anna-Marie, thanks again for being here with me today. I'm really excited to dig into all the things in the coming episodes. And hey, friend, if you'd like to learn more about the podcast, download transcripts, or search for a specific episode, visit our website at we'reallwingingit.com. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Our username is at we'reallwingingitpodcast on all platforms. You can also subscribe to our newsletter by visiting substack.com/We're All Winging It podcast. Until next time,
we're all winging it.
Let's wing it together.